Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we crack open powerful ideas and sometimes surprising insights.
Always good to be here.
Today, we're embarking on a journey inspired by an ancient phrase, really. One that holds the power to maybe reshape how we see our lives and the paths we travel.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into the Navajo prayer, "In beauty may I walk."
Just saying it.
Yeah.
It has a certain weight, doesn't it?
It really does. Just hearing those words, there's a resonance, I think. A sense of peace, maybe.
Yeah.
Or an invitation, perhaps.
Absolutely. It instantly sets a unique emotional landscape, even before we really unpack its intellectual meaning.
Right.
It's an invitation to a fundamentally different kind of reflection,
Yeah.
steering us away from judgment and towards a more profound appreciation.
And that's exactly what we're here to do. This deep dive will unravel the rich meaning behind this, seemingly simple verse. We're drawing from insights presented in El Epílogo a la Temporada 1 del podcast The Walk of Life by Oscar Muñoz.
Yeah.
Specifically, there's a commentary in there titled The Beautiful Path, a Navajo Reflection.
Right. And our guide here, this commentary, it highlights how this Navajo verse isn't just, poetic sounding. It's actually designed to set an emotional frame for reflecting on your entire life's journey.
Yeah, and that concept of an emotional frame is crucial. It really is.
How so?
Well, it changes not just what you reflect on, but how you reflect. It's the lens, the lens through which you view your entire past and maybe even your present and future.
Okay, so our mission today then is to unpack how this profound wisdom tradition defines beauty. And it's not just as an aesthetic quality like something pleasant to look at.
No, much more than that.
Exactly. It's seen as a dynamic, transformative path to self-knowledge. A guide, really, leading us toward our fullest potential and inspiring, profound, everyday changes. And I think one of the most compelling ideas here, something that truly shifts how we see things, is this understanding that self-knowledge itself isn't some kind of struggle or a purely intellectual thing.
Right, not a chore, but a path of beauty. That completely reorients how we might approach personal growth, doesn't it? And, the entire journey of life.
It's a powerful reframing, absolutely. Instead of viewing self-discovery as, let's say, a difficult, analytical, or even, painful process that you just have to push through.
Yeah, gritting your teeth.
Exactly. This perspective suggests that the very act of knowing oneself is intrinsically connected to something inherently harmonious, appealing, and deeply satisfying. It transforms the quest into an inviting exploration.
That's a fascinating starting point. So let's unpack this foundational idea. Section 1. In beauty may I walk as the emotional frame.
Okay.
The Navajo prayer, "In beauty may I walk," as our source explains, is the emotional cornerstone for reflection upon one's life journey. And here's the core message, stated explicitly. Self-knowledge is a path of beauty. Now, what does it truly mean for a phrase like this to set an emotional frame for our reflection? Not just intellectual, but emotional.
Well, what's immediately striking, I think, is the impact it has on our internal state. When we're invited to approach reflection in beauty, it instantly shifts us away from, say, a purely critical or judgmental frame.
Right.
Imagine looking back at your life through a purely critical lens. You're dissecting every decision, scrutinizing every flaw, maybe even feeling regret or shame.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. Frankly, it sounds exhausting, like you said.
Like giving your own life a performance review where you're constantly finding areas for improvement and mostly focusing on the negatives.
Precisely. But an emotional frame of beauty encourages something different. Appreciation, acceptance, maybe even reverence. It allows us to view all experiences, both challenging and joyful, not as simple successes or failures.
Which is how we usually categorize them, right?
Often, yes.
Yeah.
But here, they're seen as integral, often elegantly interwoven parts of a larger, beautiful tapestry. It fosters a sense of peace, I think, spaciousness, acceptance.
And this isn't about ignoring difficulties, is it? Like putting on rose-tinted glasses.
No, not at all. It's about seeing the inherent value, the surprising grace, and perhaps even the aesthetic coherence in the unfolding of life, regardless of how messy it might have felt at the time.
So when our source talks about reflecting on the path traveled, it's not just a mental inventory, like a list of achievements and regrets.
No, it's much deeper. It's a reevaluation. It's about integrating all those experiences, even the ones that felt like, missteps at the time.
I'm thinking about those moments that might have been incredibly difficult in the past. A failed project, a tough breakup, a period of real uncertainty. When you look back at them, sometimes years later, you realize how much you grew or how they shaped you in ways you just couldn't have predicted back then.
Exactly. And this lens of beauty transforms those narratives, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're not just remembering the pain. You start recognizing the unexpected strengths that came out of it, or the deeper empathy you developed, or the profound insight that emerged.
So the narrative shifts.
Precisely. The narrative shifts from one of mere struggle to one of resilience, learning, and ultimately growth. And that growth, in its complexity, can be seen as beautiful.
It recontextualizes our past.
Yes, allowing us to find meaning and a certain grace in everything we've been through. It's about finding the hidden elegance in our own development. Consider the intricate root system of a tree.
Okay.
It's not always visible, and some roots might really struggle through harsh, rocky soil. But it's all part of the beautiful life-sustaining structure. It all contributes.
That's a great image. And the truly crucial distinction the source makes, you mentioned it earlier, is that self-knowledge isn't just something that leads to beauty, but the process itself is beautiful.
Yes, that's the core.
Why is the act of understanding oneself, our inner landscape, our motivations, our quirks, our patterns, why is that inherently beautiful? Is it the harmony it brings, the revelations, the sort of intricate design of our own being, or something else?
I think it's likely a combination of those things, but especially the harmony and coherence that emerges as we understand ourselves more deeply.
Coherence, okay.
Yeah. When disparate pieces of your own puzzle click into place. When you recognize patterns in your behavior, understand the roots of a long-held fear, or clarify a deeply held value, there's an inherent sense of rightness.
That aha moment.
Exactly. That aha moment that feels intrinsically satisfying. It's the beauty of revelation, the elegance of self-discovery unfolding. And this perspective, it transforms the often daunting and sometimes uncomfortable journey of self-discovery.
Which it definitely can be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it transforms it into something appealing, something that beckons rather than overwhelms. It's like watching a complex piece of music slowly unfold and suddenly realizing the beautiful order within it.
I can absolutely relate to that feeling. When you finally understand why you react a certain way or what truly motivates you deep down, there's a clarity, right? A sense of order that feels incredibly good. It's like seeing a messy knot of string and slowly, maybe gracefully, untangling it until it lies in a clear, beautiful line.
That's a perfect analogy.
So if we truly adopted this emotional frame, this in-beauty approach, how might our daily lives change? Our approach to personal development, learning, maybe even problem solving?
Well, if we consciously choose to try and walk in beauty in our daily lives, it fundamentally shifts our approach. It moves us from a mindset of struggle or obligation to one of maybe appreciative engagement.
Okay.
So when facing a challenge, instead of immediately focusing on the difficulty, the friction, we might ask, where is the inherent beauty in this problem? What elegant solution could emerge here? What grace can I bring to this effort?
That's a different set of questions entirely.
It is. It fosters mindfulness and presence because really, to perceive beauty, you have to be present. You can't be rushing or judging. You're not just trying to get through a task. You're seeking the inherent value and perhaps even the art within it. It's about cultivating a more compassionate, curious, and ultimately, I think, more effective relationship with ourselves and our experiences.
It makes me think of those times looking back at a really challenging period, maybe a super tough project at work or a difficult personal transition. And initially, it just felt like a total slog. Purely arduous.
We've all been there.
But later, reflecting on it, maybe with some distance, I found unexpected beauty, maybe in the resilience I discovered in myself, or the profound lessons learned about who I am. The growth itself became the beautiful outcome.
Exactly. The perspective shifts.
So this foundational understanding that in beauty may I walk is an emotional frame and self-knowledge itself is a beautiful path, this naturally leads us to consider how beauty isn't just a personal lens, but a truly unifying force in our lives.
Indeed. It's the moment when the scattered fragments of experience kind of coalesce into a meaningful whole. And that coherence, that coming together, is inherently beautiful. This foundational understanding leads us to explore how beauty isn't just personal, like you said, but a unifying force that brings everything together.
Which brings us neatly to Section 2, Beauty as a Marga, the unifying and inclusive path.
Right.
Our source explicitly states that beauty is a marga, that aglutina los demás caminos, which, as you translated, means it brings together other paths. This concept is introduced directly within the commentary to the Navajo poem, suggesting a pretty profound philosophical implication here. So let's dig into this term, marga. The source doesn't explicitly define it for us, but its usage implies a comprehensive path or way in a spiritual or philosophical sense. What does that mean for us?
Well, what's fascinating here is the choice of this specific word, marga. While it's often associated with Eastern spiritual traditions, particularly in Hinduism and Buddhism.
Right, like the paths to enlightenment.
Exactly, where it signifies a path or way to liberation or enlightenment. Its use here, within a commentary on a Navajo poem, suggests a kind of universal resonance.
Okay, interesting.
It implies that there are fundamental, maybe universal ways of understanding and navigating life that transcend specific cultures or doctrines. By calling beauty a marga, the commentary elevates it. It's not just a concept, it's a foundational, comprehensive way of being.
So it's not just a path among many.
No, the implication is stronger. It's the path that inherently gathers and makes sense of all the others, pulling them into a cohesive whole.
So when it says beauty brings together other paths, what exactly might those other paths represent? In the context of self-knowledge, life in general. I'm talking about logic, discipline, spiritual practice, creativity, relationships, even things like hard work or sacrifice.
Precisely those kinds of things. Think about all the diverse avenues we take in life to grow, to achieve, to understand. The path of rigorous logic, demanding precise reasoning, analytical thought.
Sure.
The path of strict discipline, requiring consistent effort, adherence to rules to master a skill. Or the spiritual path, maybe involving meditation, prayer, quiet contemplation. Then there's the path of creative expression, where we bring new things into being. The path of nurturing relationships. The path of sheer hard work and perseverance, or even the path of sacrifice for something bigger than ourselves.
Okay, so all these different ways we move through life.
Right. And on their own, these can feel distinct, can't they? Sometimes even contradictory or isolating, almost like separate tributaries flowing towards different ends.
But how does beauty act as the unifying principle then? How does it connect them all and turn those tributaries into one powerful river, so to speak?
This is where beauty's integrative power really shines, according to this view. Without an element of beauty, whether that's awe, inspiration, an inherent sense of value, or just a felt sense of rightness, these other paths might remain fragmented or feel less fulfilling.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about a purely logical argument. It might be technically sound, correct on paper, but it's often the elegance or the economy of the proof, the intellectual beauty, that truly makes it compelling and memorable. Makes it stick.
Right, the beautiful proof.
Exactly. Or consider a demanding discipline, like, say, training for a marathon. It can feel like pure drudgery sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But if you find beauty in the mastery, the precision of your form, the rhythm, the sheer grace of movement, or even the beauty of the landscape you're running through, it becomes deeply meaningful, not just hard work.
Okay, I see.
Beauty elevates and harmonizes these diverse approaches. It gives them a deeper resonance and connects them to a core essence. It's what makes the hard work worthwhile, the sacrifice meaningful, the logic elegant. It suggests that when these paths are pursued with an eye toward beauty, they stop being separate endeavors and become integrated expressions of a larger, harmonious, and deeply fulfilling journey.
That makes so much sense. So if beauty is this underlying marga, this unifying path, does that imply that our pursuit of other things like truth or goodness or even just usefulness ultimately seeks its most profound expression through beauty?
That's a really interesting question it raises, isn't it?
Yeah, like we might strive for truth, but what we truly cherish is the elegant, beautifully articulated truth. Or we seek goodness, but we're most moved by acts of compassion performed with, well, a certain grace and beauty. It's not just what is done, but how it's done.
It could certainly suggest that. If beauty is the integrating force, then perhaps our understanding of success or fulfillment shifts. It's not just about achieving a goal, hitting a target.
Checking the box.
Right, but about the manner in which it's achieved, the inherent grace or meaning found within the process itself. Think about a master craftsman or an artisan.
Okay.
Their dedication to their rigorous craft, the precision, the discipline, the sheer hard work, it's all unified and made profoundly meaningful by the beauty they strive to create. The pursuit of perfection in the form, the elegance of the design, that's the beauty that holds all the technical skill and effort together. It gives it purpose beyond mere utility.
Or think about academic disciplines, like you mentioned earlier. Vastly different methods, different subjects.
Completely different worlds sometimes.
But maybe they're all driven, at some level, by the elegance or the beauty of their respective truths. A beautifully constructed mathematical proof, like you said, a perfectly articulated philosophical argument that just clicks, or a meticulously designed scientific experiment that reveals an elegant natural law. They all share a kind of aesthetic coherence that makes them not just correct, but profoundly satisfying, appealing even. It's that moment where everything aligns and feels inherently right.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
When a complex system or theory suddenly becomes understandable and appealing, there's often a sense of aesthetic coherence that makes it resonate deeply intellectually and emotionally.
Yeah.
And this understanding of beauty as this all-encompassing path, it naturally leads us to its fundamental nature, how it captivates and influences us without coercion, which is a truly unique kind of power.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the nature of beauty seduction without force. This is such a powerful concept, I think.
It really is.
Our source states that beauty seduce y fascina sin forzar, which means it seduces and fascinates without forcing, and it uses such evocative imagery to describe it. Torrente de agua cristalina en el desierto, a torrent of crystal clear water in the desert, and jardín ameno perfumado de flores, a pleasant garden perfumed with flowers.
Beautiful images.
Let's start with that core distinction, seduction versus force.
Okay, let's really dig into this. It's critical. When we say beauty seduces and fascinates, it implies an internal magnetic pull.
Internal, okay?
Yeah, it's an invitation, an enticement that speaks directly to our deepest desires, maybe our innate curiosity, our yearning for something good and true and, well, beautiful. It draws us in because it resonates with something fundamental within us. It feels right, harmonious, deeply appealing.
Can you give an example?
Think of it this way. No one needs to force you to drink water when you're genuinely thirsty, or to admire a breathtaking sunset. It just pulls you in. Beauty, in this Navajo wisdom tradition, seems to work the same way for our spirit and mind.
And the without forcing part is absolutely key here, isn't it?
Crucial. This isn't about external pressure like duty or obligation or even fear. It's not about rational mandates like you should do this because it's good for you or it's the logical thing.
Right.
It speaks to authenticity and intrinsic motivation.
Why is this non-coercive power so essential for, say, true self-knowledge and lasting transformation? Why does it have to be non-coercive?
Well, because anything forced, really, no matter how good the intention behind it, often breeds resistance, doesn't it? Or resentment, or at best, superficial compliance.
Yeah.
You do it, but your heart's not in it.
Yeah, going through the motions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True self-knowledge and lasting transformation, by their very nature, they have to come from within. They require genuine engagement, maybe even joy, and a sustainable intrinsic desire to evolve. So, when the path of self-discovery is presented as a delightful exploration, a seduction, as the source puts it, rather than a burden, it makes us eager to engage. It's about discovering what truly nourishes us, what we are drawn to naturally, rather than being told what we should do. It makes the entire journey of personal growth feel like a gift, not a chore.
And the imagery the source uses, it just brings this idea to life so vividly. First, that torrent of crystal clear water in the desert.
Powerful, isn't it?
The sensory details alone are incredible. Clarity, purity, it's life-giving, refreshing, vital. It suggests something urgent, maybe beautiful at the same time.
And what's particularly striking is the symbolism of the desert itself.
Right.
The desert represents those arid periods in our lives, challenges, scarcity, spiritual barrenness, or those moments when we feel lost and just parched for meaning.
We all have those times.
Absolutely. And beauty, in this metaphor, arrives unexpectedly as a torrent, a powerful, clear, life-affirming flow. It provides sustenance and hope precisely where it's most needed. It's not a slow drip, it's a vital gush. And this connects deeply to self-knowledge, suggesting that even in the most difficult, barren, or challenging aspects of your own inner landscape, you can find profound insight or inspiration. It turns struggle into a source of clear, life-giving understanding, a refreshing realization that emerges from unexpected places, offering immediate relief and renewal.
That's incredibly powerful. It's like finding the exact wisdom you needed in a moment of utter desperation or confusion. And then, in contrast, we have the other image. A pleasant garden perfumed with flowers.
A very different feel.
Totally different. This imagery immediately evokes comfort, abundance, delight, sensory richness, peace, vibrant life.
Yeah, the garden symbolizes cultivation, growth, harmony, a place of rest, joy, sensory fulfillment. It speaks more to the rewards of self-discovery, perhaps, those moments of ease, profound insight, inner peace that come from a well-tended inner life.
So it's the flourishing.
It's the flourishing that results from engaging with beauty without force. And together, these two images, I think, present a complete picture. Beauty as both the urgent, vital sustenance in times of dire need.
The torrent in the desert.
Right, and the abundant, peaceful sanctuary in times of growth and flourishing.
The pleasant garden.
Exactly. It shows us that beauty is present in every stage of our journey, potentially. From the starkest desert to the most lush garden.
So, if we consciously sought out moments of beauty, even small ones, how might that help us navigate challenging periods? Or inspire us to undertake daunting tasks? I mean, think about the difference between being forced to do something versus being utterly captivated by an idea or a piece of art. The internal experience is night and day.
It's truly transformative. Fostering a sense of aesthetic appreciation in our daily lives, even in mundane tasks, could cultivate this non-forcing motivation. Instead of seeing a difficult task simply as something to be endured.
Just get through it.
Right, you might look for the elegance in its structure, the beauty in its potential outcome, or maybe the grace in the effort itself. That shift in perception can make all the difference. Imagine being unexpectedly delighted or inspired by something beautiful. Maybe a piece of music that shifts your perspective during a stressful day, or a stunning natural landscape that just clears your mind and recharges your spirit.
Yeah, those moments are real.
They are. And they aren't forced experiences. They're invitations to a different way of seeing. And they often spark a profound internal shift, allowing us to approach challenges with a renewed, maybe lighter spirit.
This gentle yet powerful seduction of beauty isn't passive then. It actively transforms our engagement with the world and our very actions.
That seems to be the implication, yes.
Which moves us nicely into Section 4, the transformative power of beauty.
Okay.
The source asserts, por la belleza, el trabajo se transforma en juego y el juego en danza divina de la abundancia. That's a really profound statement. Through beauty, work transforms into play, and play into divine dance of abundance.
It's a remarkable progression, isn't it? Illustrating beauty's profound ability to reshape our experience of life itself. Let's start with that first part. Work into play. Traditionally, we associate work with effort, duty, obligation, often a lack of intrinsic enjoyment. It's often a means to an end, something we feel we have to do.
The daily grind.
Exactly. Play, on the other hand, is associated with freedom, joy, creativity, exploration. Maybe that state of flow we hear about. It's an end in itself, inherently motivating and energizing.
So, how does the infusion of beauty truly change the essence of work? It's not about avoiding tasks, clearly, but changing our experience of them.
Exactly right. When we find beauty in the process, the challenge, the craftsmanship, or the ultimate purpose of our work, the task stops being merely taxing and becomes deeply engaging.
Can you give an example of that transformation?
Sure. Think about an architect meticulously designing a building. They're focused not just on function, but on its aesthetic harmony, the elegant solution it provides, a beautiful integration of form and purpose. Or a gardener tending to their plants, finding beauty in the intricate patterns of growth, the vibrant life itself, not just thinking about the harvest. For them, the act of creation, the daily tending, becomes a joyful engagement.
So the work becomes play.
In essence, yes. When beauty is present, work is no longer just a burden. It's an opportunity for expression and fulfillment. And the psychological and emotional benefits are immense. Potentially less stress, more sustained energy, greater satisfaction, a deeper sense of meaning, a life lived in play, meaning, engaged with intrinsic joy and purpose, is surely infinitely more sustainable and fulfilling than a life lived solely in work and that grind mentality.
And then it elevates play even further. It doesn't stop there. It goes into a divine dance of abundance. This sounds like the pinnacle, really.
It does feel like that.
Play isn't just recreation anymore. It becomes something sacred, purposeful, and bountiful. What does divine dance evoke for you here?
Divine dance. It evokes harmony, rhythm, grace, and a deep connection to something greater than oneself. It suggests effortless, joyful creation and participation in the very flow of life.
Effortless creation.
Yeah, it implies a state where your actions aren't just enjoyable, but they feel intrinsically right, perfectly aligned with maybe a higher purpose, almost as if you are being moved by a universal rhythm. It's where the individual's will aligns so perfectly with these larger currents that action becomes effortless, joyous, and profoundly meaningful.
And abundance in this context, it's not just material wealth, is it? It sounds much more expansive.
Oh, far more expansive, I think.
Yeah.
It's an overflow of creativity, joy, spiritual richness, meaning, fulfillment, in potentially every aspect of life. It implies a boundless source of good that emanates from this aligned state, not just for oneself, but often for the world around them, too.
A ripple effect.
Exactly. This entire transformation from work that feels like a chore to play that delights, and finally to a divine dance that feels purposeful and bountiful, it suggests living in a state where one's actions are perfectly aligned, deeply enjoyable, and continuously generate positive outcomes, creating that ripple effect of goodness.
Wow. Imagine if this principle were applied to your career, your relationships, your personal projects. What would that actually look and feel like? Could this divine dance be a metaphor for achieving a state of, say, complete self-actualization or flow, where you're not just achieving, but truly living your purpose?
It absolutely could be interpreted that way. It's that feeling of losing yourself in a task, not because you're avoiding something, but because you're so fully immersed and congruent with what you're doing. It's where effort feels effortless and creation feels natural.
Like the artisan you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. The artisan lost in their craft, where every movement feels like a dance, an extension of their innermost being, almost like the tools are dancing through their hands. Or a musician fully immersed in a performance, transcending mere technical skill into an experience of divine creation, where notes flow not just from their fingers, but from their soul.
Or even something less grand. Maybe a parent finding the divine dance in the repetitive, often challenging, yet ultimately beautiful acts of raising a child. Seeing the grace in the daily rituals, the unfolding of a new life.
That's a beautiful example.
Yeah.
Yes. This perspective could fundamentally shift societal values, couldn't it? Away from purely utilitarian productivity towards a deeper appreciation for the inherent joy and meaning in human endeavor itself.
Or even just that feeling of being so deeply engaged in a meaningful personal project writing, building something, creating art, that it feels endlessly generative, not draining. It gives you energy, inspiration, purpose.
That's it, exactly.
So this profound internal transformation through beauty doesn't just change our inner world. It actively guides us outwards, shaping our ambitions and our destinations.
It propels us forward.
Which moves us to section 5. Beauty as a guide towards the horizon and greatness.
A lovely metaphor.
The source tells us beauty conduce al navegante a perseguir el horizonte, puerta de la grandeza. It leads the navigator to pursue the horizon, door to greatness, and it also lleva al horizonte a ser luz naciente y respuesta al deseo de navegar. It makes the horizon rising light and a response to the desire to navigate.
This is such a beautiful, evocative metaphor. It positions you, the listener, as el navegante, the navigator, an active, purposeful individual on your life's journey, making choices, charting a course.
And the horizon.
El horizonte symbolizes the future, doesn't it? Our aspirations, goals, unknown territories, our potential for continuous expansion. It's always alluring, always just beyond reach, yet it's always guiding us forward, pulling us into what's next.
So how does beauty specifically become the primary motivator for this pursuit? Rather than, say, obligation or ambition or even fear of missing out, how does beauty make the journey itself compelling and meaningful?
Well, if you're pursuing a goal because it feels inherently beautiful, in its conception perhaps, its challenge, its potential impact on others, its sheer aesthetic elegance, then the journey itself becomes the reward, doesn't it?
Okay.
The drive comes from a place of deep resonance, not just a desire for a specific outcome or payoff at the end. Beauty transforms the pursuit into something intrinsically compelling, ensuring the journey is as enriching and inspiring, potentially, as the destination. It's a journey driven by inspiration, not just ambition.
And the horizon isn't just a destination point. It's described as a puerta de la grandeza, a door to greatness. What does grandeza mean here? It doesn't feel like it's just about fame or material success.
No, I don't think so either. Grandeza here seems to speak more to realizing one's full potential, achieving significant personal growth, mastering a skill, developing profound personal integrity, maybe fostering a vibrant community, or contributing meaningfully to the world. It's about becoming the fullest, most authentic expression of yourself.
And beauty presents this potential how?
Not as a distant, daunting peak you have to conquer, but as an open invitation, a welcoming threshold. It makes the journey towards personal greatness attractive and accessible, beckoning us forward with a gentle, inspiring pull, a pull that feels like an honor to answer, perhaps.
And it goes even further, calling the horizon luz naciente, rising light, and respuesta al deseo de navegar, a response to the desire to navigate, rising light. That sounds like new beginnings, hope, clarity, illumination.
That's right. The rising light symbolizes the promise of a brighter future, new beginnings, profound clarity. Beauty imbues the future with a radiant quality, making it seem not just attainable but full of promise and illumination, guiding our steps with a soft glow.
But that second part is really intriguing. The horizon as a response to the desire to navigate.
It's a powerful idea, isn't it? I find it particularly compelling. It suggests it's not just that we chase the horizon. The horizon answers an innate, deep-seated desire within us, a desire to explore, to grow, to experience.
So it's a two-way street.
It seems so. Beauty confirms and validates this intrinsic human urge. It's a harmonious co-creation between our inner drive and the possibilities that lie ahead, almost as if the universe itself is responding to our longing for adventure and growth, laying out a beautiful path in front of us.
That's a profound thought. How might your own pursuit of goals and aspirations change if you were primarily motivated by the inherent beauty you found in the process itself, rather than solely the outcome?
That's a great question to reflect on.
I'm thinking about the beauty of a grand vision inspiring an entrepreneur to tirelessly pursue innovation, not just for profit, but for the sheer elegance and impact of the idea they want to bring to life.
It would likely shift our focus from external validation likes, promotions, applause, to internal fulfillment and a deeper sense of purpose. The allure of an unexplored intellectual frontier for a scholar, for instance, isn't just about finding facts, is it? It's often about the beautiful challenge of weaving together new understanding, constructing an elegant theory.
Yeah.
Or a personal challenge like learning a new language or a musical instrument. Viewed through the lens of potential growth and the beauty of communication or expression, it transforms from a daunting obstacle into a beautiful journey of self-discovery and connection. Beauty becomes the fuel, the compass, and maybe even the destination all at once. It makes the entire trajectory of life feel more like a meaningful expedition.
This outward-leading guidance of beauty also possesses a crucial inward power, though, the ability to overcome stagnation, to reawaken our innate drive when we get stuck.
Yes, that's another key aspect.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 6. Beauty as a redemptive force overcoming inertia.
Right, getting unstuck.
Our source describes beauty as la fuerza que redime la inercia y la guía hacia la espontaneidad del movimiento inicia, the force that redeems inertia and the guide towards the spontaneity of the initial movement.
Inertia. That's a concept we're all probably too familiar with, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's that common human experience of feeling stuck, stagnant, lacking motivation, resistant to change. It's the state of doing nothing or actively resisting movement, even when we know deep down we should be doing something.
We all face it. Creative blocks, procrastination on a big project, just feeling overwhelmed by the sheer size of a task.
Absolutely. It's like being rooted to the spot, unable to budge.
But the source says beauty redeems inertia. That word redeems is so much stronger than just overcomes or pushes past. It implies bringing value back to something that felt lost, wasted, or unproductive. How does beauty do this? What's the mechanism here?
That's a great point about the word redeems. It suggests beauty doesn't just push us out of inertia. It transforms the very experience of being stuck. It imbues that moment of stagnation with potential and meaning for the path forward. It makes the transition out of inertia feel perhaps graceful and meaningful, rather than a forced, unpleasant struggle.
Oh.
By offering that compelling, gentle pull we talked about earlier, the seduction without force, rather than a harsh, externally imposed push. When something is truly beautiful and its potential outcome, its intrinsic process, or even its very first spark, it inherently motivates genuine action from within. It makes starting feel less like a chore and more like a gentle, appealing unfolding. It allows us maybe to reclaim our agency and find purpose even in moments where we felt helpless or stuck.
So it's not just about getting moving again, but changing our fundamental relationship to being stuck in the first place.
That seems to be the idea, yes.
And then it guides us hacia la espontaneidad del movimiento inicia, towards the spontaneity of the initial movement. Initial movement here sounds like a very first step, right? Spark of inspiration before the self-doubt or the overthinking or the crushing weight of the whole thing sets in.
Exactly. And spontaneity, is characterized by that effortlessness, that naturalness, intuition, freedom from resistance. Beauty helps us bypass the mental blocks and self-criticism that often precede action.
The inner critic.
Right. It reconnects us with that primal, intuitive urge to begin, to create, to explore. When you perceive the beauty in starting in the raw idea, and the elegant simplicity of the first step action can flow more naturally, without that internal friction. It's about rediscovering the sheer joy of simply beginning, unburdened by the weight of the entire journey ahead. It allows us to trust that initial impulse, that beautiful spark, and follow it without hesitation.
This sounds like a genuinely powerful strategy for overcoming procrastination or creative blocks that can plague so many of us. If you consciously search for beauty in the potential outcome of a task, or even in the beauty of the first small, elegant step, what might that do for your motivation?
It could make a huge difference.
I mean, we've all had those mornings where just getting out of bed feels like fighting gravity, right? This idea of finding the beauty, even in that first small step, feels kind of revolutionary.
It could be absolutely revolutionary for how you approach your life, yes. Consider the sudden, unexpected inspiration to clean a cluttered space. Maybe not out of obligation or external pressure, but because you vividly visualize its serene and beautiful potential, the calm it will bring.
Okay.
Or an artist starting a new project purely out of the beauty of an idea, a flash of color, a compelling form unburdened by commercial pressures or deadlines, just drawn to the act of creation itself.
Just following the beauty.
Just following the beauty. It's about finding the beautiful initial step in even a daunting task, like breaking it down into an elegant, manageable sequence. This philosophy fundamentally reshapes our approach to personal growth goals that often feel overwhelming and difficult to start. It makes them an inviting exploration rather than a heavy burden. It replaces that feeling of dread with a compelling internal desire to move forward, one beautiful step at a time.
So we've walked through quite a journey here, exploring the many facets of beauty in this Navajo reflection, its role as a profound emotional frame,
Setting the stage.
a unifying path, the marga,
Bringing it all together.
a non-forceful seducer, a transformer of work into divine dance,
That powerful shift in experience.
a guide to the horizon of greatness, and finally, a redeemer of inertia, reawakening our spontaneity.
It's quite a comprehensive vision.
It really is. So what does this all mean for you, our listener, as you continue on your own unique journey?
Well, what's truly compelling here, I think, is how comprehensively this perspective integrates so many aspects of life. It offers a holistic lens, really, through which to view not just our personal growth, but our daily actions, our aspirations, our relationships, even our struggles.
Invitation.
It is an invitation to cultivate a conscious awareness of beauty, not just in external aesthetics, which is easy, but in the very processes and transformations of our own path.
So to truly embody In Beauty May I Walk is maybe to change how you experience every moment, to actively seek out that magnetic pull in your challenges, your routines, your grandest visions. It's about finding the grace in the journey, even when, let's be honest, it's tough.
Indeed. It encourages you to actively seek where you can find or cultivate beauty, not just superficially, but in the harmony of self-knowledge, the elegance of effort, the grace of creation, and that inspiring pull towards your own potential. It seems to shift the burden of self-improvement into the potential joy of self-discovery.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, building on what we've explored today. If the path of beauty truly seduces without forcing and transforms even work into a divine dance, then perhaps the most radical act of self-care and genuine growth isn't about pushing harder or forcing yourself through resistance. Instead, maybe it's about cultivating a deeper capacity to perceive and embrace the inherent beauty in your own unique journey, even in its most challenging moments. How might your experience of life, your struggles, your joys, your daily tasks, and your grandest dreams, how might it all change if you consciously sought to walk in beauty through every endeavor?
A powerful question to sit with.
We invite you to ponder that thought as you continue on your own beautiful path.